I finally found it. The tablet that can tell me the future. I got it. I finally got it. Tell me my future. What? This joke's not even funny anymore. It's not even relevant. It's from a year ago. Why do I get no bitches? So Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was actually pretty good. I've liked Indiana Jones for a while now. Like, Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of the greatest films ever made. And honestly, after The Last Crusade, did we really need another Indiana Jones movie? No. But you know how it is, studios like money, so we got 2 more. And this is the last Indiana Jones movie in the entire franchise until like 10 years later where they make another one, probably. But now Disney and Lucasfilm have created what they are calling, for the time being, the final Indiana Jones movie. And the question is, does it serve as a good finale for the franchise? Yeah, kinda, I guess. The movie at times can be really fucking fun to watch. Just being able to see Indiana Jones back on the big screen was honestly kinda surreal, and also there are some pretty interesting set pieces, good performances with Harrison Ford giving his all in what he probably knew would be his last outing as the character, and you could tell that he likes playing Indiana Jones. Or else he wouldn't have done this. He's not foaming it in, it's not like when he does Han Solo and he's like, I want to fucking die. Like, he actually likes playing Indiana Jones, and I feel like you can feel that love that he has for the character in this movie. Some of the action scenes and chase sequences are pretty cool to watch, especially one where a Nazi chases Indy through a subway while he rides a horse. That shit goes hard as fuck. And there's also like these really cool scenes of Indiana Jones fighting on a train when he's young, like de-aged Harrison Ford. And honestly, it looks kind of cool to me. I know that sometimes he looks like a PS4 cutscene, but like, I don't know. I like seeing Indiana Jones. I like that shit. I liked seeing him young again. That was the coolest part of the movie, probably. And honestly, I got nostalgia for that shit, and I'm like 22 years old. But what I really liked in this movie was the idea of Indy being an older man who doesn't really fit into this new world he finds himself in. Now people don't want to go into archaeology. They want to explore space. They want to go on the moon. And that was never a world that Indy wanted to be a part of. It's less of a movie about him wanting to retire and more about him thinking the world is forcing him to. And what he has to realize is, although he thinks the world doesn't want him anymore, there are still people in this world that love and care for him and need him. And having that MacGuffin of the movie being about time really hammers home the idea of Indy running out of time to keep doing stuff like this. And I think that's pretty cool to have Indy looking for a device that involves time when he himself thinks of himself as a man out of time. Really interesting concept there. I really dig it. I really did like the movie. I had a lot of fun watching it. But does it work as a finale to the Indiana Jones franchise? I guess. And that's probably not the greatest answer I could have gotten. I would say for the most part, it definitely does work. It wraps up all the important things. It gives Indiana Jones a happy ending that I think fans always wanted. The last 5 minutes specifically are probably the best 5 minutes of the movie. Like, they're just very touching. It's very like, this is the end. This is it. This is the finale. And it really brings home the idea that we will never see this character again. And I like that. It just delivers the most heartfelt send-off to one of the most iconic characters ever created. But like, it does that for the last 5 minutes. It doesn't do that for the whole movie. And I feel like that's where it kind of misses the mark on trying to make this a thoughtful finale. But here's where the really, really big problem comes in, and I'll talk about it right now. The real problem with this movie is that you kind of just have to work with what you got. And what James Mangold got was an 80-year-old Harrison Ford who can't really do all the action scenes that he did back in the 80s. He's not a frail old man, but like, look at the guy. How old he is. You want that guy to swing off like his little whip? You want him to do some whipping and some cracking and some shooting, I don't think he's going to be able to do that anymore. I think for the most part, Mangold does his best to make an Indiana Jones movie that sticks to what worked in the past, while still acknowledging that our protagonist is not the whip-cracking young gun that he used to be. For the most part, I think that he exchanges the whip-cracking gun-shooting action scenes for cool chase scenes, and as cool as those scenes can be, especially the one with the horse, because the one with the horse is fucking awesome. I really liked it. As cool as those can be, at a certain point they start to get very samey and they start to get very boring. It never really feels like the action is that intense because when your protagonist is an 80-year-old man, it's hard to have him beating up Nazis the way we used to see him do it, so James Mangold really had to lean on the idea of creating a really interesting story to balance the fact that we can't really have a big action set piece anymore, like these movies used to have. I am in no way making fun of Harrison Ford for being old. I get it. People get old. It's hard to do stuff. I'm not making fun of him because I guarantee you Harrison Ford at 80 years old could beat the living shit out of me. He would beat me up. We'd laugh it off a bit, you know. I'd have bruises all over my face, but we'd laugh it off. We'd hug, and then he'd say, hey, do you want to go to a bro vacation to Paris? And I'd say, hell yeah. So he'd fly us to Paris, but right before we get to Paris, he'd crash the plane into like the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean. I don't know how maps work, but then we'd laugh it off again as we drown into the ocean forever, no one ever knowing where we died. But yeah, I like Harrison Ford. I just feel like sometimes the movie can get kind of boring because action scenes are always somewhat held back and limited. This is not the action-packed Indiana Jones that you remember. It's an Indiana Jones who's 80 and can't really do that stuff anymore. So like, it really brings home the idea that maybe this movie should have never been made. I also think that the pacing is kind of bad. There's a lot that this movie tries to catch you up on since India's been gone, and I think it sometimes tries to fit too much in too little time, and sometimes it just doesn't work. This movie is already 2.5 hours long, and in that 2.5 hours, it tries to fit so much backstory that we actually don't get enough time to just talk about what Indy is like right now until probably the last half of the movie, maybe. We get so many flashback scenes that like real life Harrison Ford probably has less screen time than young de-aged Harrison Ford. So is this movie flawed? Absolutely. Is it the best Indiana Jones movie? Definitely not. Is it the worst Indiana Jones movie? I don't know yet, but is it kind of fun to watch? I'd have to say yeah. I had a lot of fun watching it. If you like Indiana Jones, I feel like you will enjoy watching this movie. It's fun at times, it can be thrilling at times, Harrison Ford gives an amazing performance, James Mangold perfectly steps into Steven Spielberg's director chair, and delivers a movie that still very much feels like Indiana Jones. And for the most part, it serves as a really great finale for one of the most iconic characters in film history. So to make this review short and sweet, I guess I'm going to give Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny a 7 out of 10. I personally really like Indiana Jones, so, you know, I was always kind of like this movie, whether it was bad or not, but it turned out being pretty decent. Not amazing, but not bad. Just good. Like, James Mangold's direction can be really cool at times, but also it can be really stale and really boring. But I will say he was probably the best choice to fill in for Steven Spielberg. Because like, how do you get a director to fill in for a guy like Steven Spielberg? That's hard to do. James Mangold does his best, I think, because it's so obvious that he's very passionate about the character. He's very passionate about the story, and he does his best to serve the finale that he would have wanted to see as a fan, and I can appreciate something like that. Yes, this movie is super flawed. It's got bad pacing. It's got some bad writing sometimes. It's kind of all over the place, and some of the story beats don't work. Some of the characters can be kind of stale. The action is kind of lackluster. Honestly, I don't really care because I think it served its purpose. It delivered an Indiana Jones action adventure movie that you can enjoy. You can just sit down, watch it, turn off your brain, kind of like it. Is it as thoughtful and brilliant as the first 3 movies? No, obviously not. But it's just another fun action little Indiana Jones movie you can enjoy and just not have to think about anything else. And I appreciate that. And I guess it also serves as a pretty good ending to the franchise. I just hope they never make another one. So this was the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed because I really wanted to keep this one short. So I hope it's short. I know some of my recent reviews have gone on pretty long, so I wanted this one to be kind of shorter. So I hope that we got a shorter little, like, less than 10-minute video here. Anyways, right now, it would be kind of awesome if you just, like, liked, subscribed, and commented on the video. Subscribe more importantly, because I don't know if you knew this, but it's free. You can do that for free. You don't have to pay anything. You just subscribe for free. And then it helps both of us because you can watch my videos, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. I won't lie. Some of them are bad. But most of them are good. I kind of want to hit 500 subs before the end of the summer. I don't think that's going to happen, but like that would be freaking sick. It'd be tighter than I was going to make a your mom joke, but I've done too many of those. I'm sure there's a compilation that you can make of me saying your mom jokes. Anyways, as always, remember guys, stay safe, stay healthy, stay sexy. Okay, bye.
Reach this fuck, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up. Reach this fuck, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up. I got Reese's Puffs in my bowl, nowadays on cruise control. I got Reese's Puffs in my bowl, just like that I'm on the road. Reese's Puffs, you don't wanna drop this plate.